Hi, it's Mike here again, bringing you another video in collaboration with Factory Direct Hobbies. Well, this time we've got a real monster. It's absolutely huge. It's a Trumpeter's 1 in 32nd scale SU30-MKK Flanker-G. Now, MKK means for export to China in Russian. My Russian's terrible. I have no idea what the actual Russian for that is. There really shouldn't be any surprises. Building a 1 in 32nd scale flanker, if you're surprised and it's big when it's coming out of the box, then you really don't know what you're getting into. The flanker as an aircraft is enormous. The large American aircraft like the F-15 and F-14 are already huge if you've been next to one of those. This thing is about 10 feet longer than either of those, and it's absolutely huge. And you can see this with the models. They're just vast next to each other. I mean, if I pick this up, I wear a large size glove for context, and I mean, you could just see how big this thing is. It's a spectacular piece. If you've got room to display it, it's the highlight of any collection. This is actually my second of these. I know you would have thought I'd have learnt from the first time round, but obviously I didn't. But the size is a potential problem, and it's something you should really consider before making this, and it's a problem in two ways. You need to find somewhere to store it. This thing is over 2 feet long, so if you think about it, end on a shelf. I made my shelves deep enough that I was able to store these things, but even the wingspan is getting on for something like 18 inches, so it won't fit on a mantelpiece. It's too deep for that. It's too deep for normal shelves. You could hang it from the ceiling. So that's the first aspect to consider, the storage side of it. The second part of that is actually building the thing. It barely fits on my bench here. I don't mind that. I can kind of work around that, but there were moments when I was just tearing my hair out, what I have left of it, thinking, God, I wish this thing was just a little bit smaller. I'd be able to move it around a bit more easily, bumping it into things and that thing. So those are things to consider. And I wanted to deal with like the sort of downside of it first. Those are the obvious downsides. But really, I want to now focus on the positives of this kit. Fantastic. The fit is really, really good. Yes, it has some slight problems. The instructions are all absolutely fine, which isn't always the case with Trumpeter. With this one, instructions were fine, no problem at all. Fit, fantastic. No big gaps, everything went together in a logical way, the wings clipped on really nicely, and it was an interesting mechanism they used. The upper and lower half of the wings sandwiched onto a tab that was inside there through the holes and then into each other. Super solid joint. If you're making this one though, make sure you clamp those solidly. I put some cement in there, the styrene cement, and clamped it, and I left it for a good hour to really let that join together, but it gets you a really, really solid bond. It's that top level engineering. That's the engineering of the way the wings are attached is as good as you'll see on any model kit. Super impressed. Really liked the way in which things were boxed up. One of the vulnerable points of these twin-engined, sort of underslung engine nacelle type models kits is that the pointy bits at the end of the intakes can get bent or damaged very easily. Trumpeter went round this by putting some foam padding around the end of it and putting it in a separate box. Lovely touch, really, really nice. That's going to keep it absolutely safe. I'm absolutely confident that if you were to buy one of these, you get it in the same condition that I got it in. Really nice. Upper and lower fuselage also put in separate boxes, strapped in well, delicate parts with padding around. A lot of attention to detail. They really wanted this to get to you in a good condition. Really impressed by that. No fully detailed engines in this one. I think they're a mixed blessing anyway. In some models, I like to make them because I like seeing what's inside. With this one, I think that would have just jacked the price up. It would have made an even more expensive model kit, and it's unnecessary. You're going to hide them away inside anyway. One of the key features of the flankers is the exposed metal on the rear. I hope you can see that. It's the exposed metal on the rear. So it'd be a real shame to actually leave the engines out and to spoil that back end in that way. So I didn't miss the engines not being there at all. Metal landing gear, really nice, really solid, like that. That's not going to break. It has a plastic option as well. You can use them if you want to. I wouldn't. I wouldn't use them. I'd use the metal. The attachment can be a little bit weird. I've taken to just putting a few dobs of epoxy where they join and where the sort of mounting points join into the fuselage, because I find it just makes it that bit more solid. I move my models around a little bit. I like to take photos of them in different contexts and that sort of thing. And so I like to know that it's going to be solid. When I'm moving it around, that it's not going to get broken all the time. We've now come to the Ordnance side of it. I must confess, I was very disappointed by it with this one. It's a Chinese fighter. Yes, there's a kind of Russian version, but it was an evaluation version. It was really just for export to China. The missiles they included in the box were basically all Russian missiles rather than Chinese missiles. There is some crossover. I managed to find that with the missiles that I used on this one. But there's a lot of redundant stuff in there. The pylons that came with the missiles, these are actually the missiles that also come with the MiG-29 Fulcrum kit. The pylons provided other pylons from the Fulcrum kit that work with these. It's not really good enough. I mean, it really isn't. I modified the pylons for the flanker. I had to do a little bit of scratch building to get those to work. Little bit disappointed by that. Also, with the Chinese missiles, they use these KH-31Ps, which are these shiny things underneath here. Well, you can see it if I turn it around a little bit to the side. They are such cool missiles. If Darth Vader was making missiles for third and fourth gen fighters, he'd be making these things. They look awesome. They look absolutely fantastic. So I wanted those. The aircraft can actually carry a lot more. Standard Chinese anti-ship load is 4 to 6 of these things. It only comes with 2 in the box, along with a load of redundant stuff that only the Russians use. So a little bit disappointed in that respect. I worked around it. I don't think it's a showstopper. It was just a little bit disappointing to get to the end of the build and find that it was like that. But it wouldn't stop me making another one. So overall, what would I think of this kit? I think it's really good. I think it'll build up into a beautiful model. There's nothing too challenging in it. I think anybody can build this. There's no real gotchas in there. Given the choice between this and the SU27B, which is also available from Factory Direct Hobbies, I'd go with that one. This one is a modification of that kit. It's a moderate modification of it. They've done pretty well, but the other one just feels more like the way that it's meant to be. You have to adjust this one a little bit. So there's something to watch out for. Both of them are available. So as I say, I'd go for the other one, single seat Russian one, correct missiles, really cool missiles to go with that one as well. Perhaps a better option. But yeah, if you want the Flanker-G, then this is your one, and it's good. It's good. Anyway, so thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me talk about this model. I'm obviously very enthusiastic about building these things, and I very much enjoy sharing that enthusiasm with you. Go check out the Factory Direct Hobbies website. This is on there. There's a bunch of other ones in there as well. There's a 1 in 48 scale version of this too if you want something a little bit smaller. Might be a little bit more manageable. But whatever you do, enjoy your building and have fun. Happy modelling, everyone.